you are having a good day so far. So, for today, we will be doing our grade 6 English lesson on possessive pronouns. So, we'll be doing our grade 6 English lesson on possessive pronouns. And before we start with our lesson on possessive pronouns, we're going to log into aplusstudents.ca. So once you've logged into aplusstudents.ca, you're going to um, log in with your username and as well as your password. Select the subject of language arts. Select grade 6. And then you're going to scroll down all the way up until you get to the chapter of possessive pronouns. So we are basically going to find out what is a possessive pronoun. So our chapter is possessive pronouns. Subject is English language arts. Our grade is grade 6. And our lesson that we are focusing on is to use possessive pronouns. So that is going to be our chapter, subject, grade, and lesson for today. And we are doing our tutorial lessons on aplusstudents.ca, which means that if you need to recap, go over the work, right, and then you can just go to aplusstudents.ca. The chapter, subject, grade, and lessons is already provided for you. All right. A possessive pronoun, right? So, possessive pronoun, it names a person or a thing that has something or that owns something, right? So, possessive pronoun, it names a person or thing that has something. And a possessive pronoun, it does not contain an apostrophe. So, usually when we show possession, right, and then we put the apostrophe S, right, to show that there is a form of possession or something belongs to you or yes. But now in this case, a possessive pronoun, it does not contain an apostrophe. And some possessive pronouns appear before a noun and it replaces the name of the person or thing that has something. And an example is Julian's group is finished. So Julian's group is finished, right? So if Julian's group is finished, then basically we say, and then we say his group is finished. His group is finished. And his basically refers to the person or thing that has something. So Julian's group is finished. So basically, it's like saying his group is finished. So also when it comes to identifying possessive nouns, right, it doesn't necessarily have to be that the sentence or the example is going to be like the way Julian's group is finished is written, right? Sometimes your possessive nouns will only be one sentence. And an example of that is, mine is the red one. And if we look at that words, right, or that sentence, mine is the red ones. And if we identify the possessive pronoun within the sentence, we can say it is mine. Mine is the red one. So we said mine is the red one. And another example is the one on the table is yours. So which means that yours is also a possessive pronoun. So you basically say that a possessive pronoun, it names a person or thing that has something. So with the possessive pronoun, right, we see that it does not contain an apostrophe. So this one does not contain an apostrophe. And some possessive pronouns, it appears before a noun and replaces the name of the person or thing that has something. And we made an example of Julian, and Julian's group is finished, his group is finished. So which means that we are not replacing Julian's group with his group. Mine is the red one, and the one on the table is yours. So this is but a few examples of possessive pronoun. All right, so now we're going to go to aplusstudents.ca. Remember, we said that we are doing our tutorial lesson on aplusstudents.ca. And we are now by possessive pronouns. And we're going to the first and only lesson that is to use possessive pronouns. All right, so we are going to basically use possessive pronouns, right? So some possessive pronouns, it comes before a noun. So some possessive pronouns, it comes before a noun. They are my, your, his, her, its, our, and their, right? So that is some of the possessive pronouns that comes before a noun. And we said it is my, your, his, her, its, our, and their, right? So now if we look at an example of the possessive pronouns. So if we, for example, say that is Tasha's car, right? So Tasha's car, that means it shows possession, right? Possessiveness belongs to Tasha. But remember, we said that there should not be apostrophes, right? And the pronoun, it replaces the name of a person. So that is Tasha's car, which means that that is her car. So that is her car. So her is our correct possessive pronoun. And then some possessive pronouns appear without a name, right? And they are, for example, mine, yours, his, hers, it's, ours, and theirs. And for example, again, so some possessive pronouns we said appear without a name, right? And if it appears without a name, for example, they are mine, yours, his, hers, its, ours, and theirs, right? These are the possessive pronouns that appear without a name. For example, instead of saying that is Tasha's car, because remember we are trying to avoid the name, right? Because it is a pronoun and a pronoun takes the place of the name. So that is Tasha's car, right? Which means that if we replace the name, then we just say that it is her car. That is hers. That is hers, right? Her what? Her car. So some possessive pronouns, it appears without a name, and they are mine, yours, his, hers, its, ours, and theirs. And our example is that is hers. And hers can mean anything. Specifically, in this case, it is her car. So instead of saying it is her car, we just say it is hers. Instead of saying it is my bowl, I can just say it is mine. All right. So now we're going to complete the sentence with the correct possessive pronoun, right? And remember, we said a pronoun, it takes the place of a name. Those flashlights belong to us. Those flashlight belongs to us. So if something belongs to us, then they are whose flashlights? If something belongs to us, and what is the word that we will put in there? It is, or they are flashlights. So if something belongs to us, and then we can say they are our flashlight because it belongs to us. So if it belongs to us, then we can say it is our flashlights. All right. And there we have our solving. The correct possessive pronoun is ours, and it shows that the flashlight belongs to us. All right, let's complete the sentence with the correct possessive pronoun. Those dogs belong to these boys. Those dogs belong to these boys. So if it belongs to these boys, those dogs belong to these boys, then we can say they are whose dogs? Belongs to these boys. Do we say it is, they are my dogs, your dogs, his or her dogs, it's its dogs, our dogs, their dogs? Or do we say they are mine dogs, yours dogs, his, hers, its, ours, and theirs? So those dogs belong to these boys. So if we say it belongs to these boys, then we can say that it is their dogs because it belongs to these boys. So we can say it is their dogs. Right? If we hadn't put dogs, we would have said they are theirs. But for now, we're just saying they are their dogs because it belongs to them. It belongs to the boys or these boys. So basically, this is then showing the possessive pronoun. And remember, the pronoun, it is basically like replacing the name. All right. We said that by the next one. The candy belongs to her. So if the candy belongs to her, the candy belongs to her, then it is candy. Then whose candy is it? So if the candy belongs to her, then it is whose candy? So that candy belongs to her. So if the candy belongs to her, then we can say it is her candy. So we can then just say it is her candy, right? Because the candy belongs to her. If we had said that the candy belongs to him, then we would have said it is his candy, right? Because we can't say the candy belongs to her, it is his candy. Because her is a girl and his refers to a boy. So we say that the candy belongs to her, it is her candy. So it's her candy. All right, so once again, we said that some of the possessive pronouns, it comes before a noun, and they are, for example, my, your, his, her, its, our, and theirs, right? And that comes before a noun. And then we have some possessive pronouns that appear without a name, and they are mine, yours, hers, his, its, ours, and theirs. And these are possessive pronouns, right? It shows position or possessiveness. So shows that something belongs to someone. All right, so just once again, let's go over number 3. It says, that candy belongs to her. It is candy. So the candy belongs to her. So we said it is her candy. All right. So now we're going to do our test, right, on using the possessive pronouns. That book belongs to you. So if the book belongs to you, right, then it is whose book? Is it your book or is it my book? So if that book belongs to you, is it your book or is it my book? So we then say that the book belongs to you. So, and if the book belongs to you, we say it is. Yes, we say it is your book. The book belongs to you. It is your book. Yes, so well done. Well done. That candy belongs to her. It is candy. So that candy belongs to her. So if we say that candy belongs to her, is it her candy or is it his candy? If it belongs to her, that candy belongs to her. So we can then say that it is her candy, right? Beautiful, lovely. Those kites belongs to all of us. Those kites belong to all of us. So if the kites belong to all of us, then we say that they are kites. Is it our kites or your kites? So those kites belong to all of us. Those kites belong to all of us. They are our kites or your kites. Belongs to us. If it belongs to us, is it ours or is it yours? So those kites belong to all of us. Then we can say they are our kites. If it belongs to us, then it is our kites. Ne? Those flowers belong to them. So those flowers belong to them. And if it belongs to them, then we say they are flowers. It belongs to them. Is it mine flowers or their flowers? So those flowers belongs to them. They are, is it mine flowers or their flowers if it belongs to them? Whose flowers is it? All right, so which means that if we were to correct the possessive noun and it says those flowers belongs to them, then we can say they are their flowers. It is theirs. It belongs to them, it is theirs. Yes, so there is correct. Those footballs belongs to the 11th graders. So if those footballs belongs to the 11th graders, do we say they are mine footballs or do we say they are their footballs? Whose footballs is it now? Mine or their footballs? So, which means that if we say those footballs belongs to the 11th graders, then we can say they are their footballs. So it belongs to the 11th graders, right? It is their footballs. All right. Those maps belongs to us. So those maps belong to us. So those maps belongs to us. The maps belongs to us. If something belongs to us, then they are, is it our maps or your maps? So those maps belong to us. So we can say they are our maps. maps. Those maps belong to us. They are our maps. Those mirrors belong to Nick and us. So those mirrors belong to Nick and Ash. Us, sorry. So if it belongs to Nick and us, sorry, do we say they are ours, our mirrors, or do we say they are your mirrors? So those mirrors belong to Nick and us. Do we have to say they are our mirrors or they are your mirrors? All right. So those mirrors belongs to Nick and us. Then we can then just say that this or they are our mirrors. So our mirrors. Yes, so well done. Our is correct. Those flutes belongs to Ellie and her family. So those flutes belong to Ellie and her family. So if it belongs to Ellie and her family, do we say they are their flutes or they are our flutes? Their flutes or our flutes? So those flutes belong to Ellie and her family. So we can say they are their flutes. And there is correct. The boat belongs to me. If the boat belongs to me, then we can say it is your boat or it is my boat. That boat belongs to me. So we say that it is cold or warm. So which means that it is your belongs to me. Sorry, it is yours, your boat or my boat. So the boat belongs to me. Do we say it is your boat or my boat? All right, so if something belongs to me, right, then we can say it is my boat. All right. Oopsie. All right, so that is my boat. So well done. All right, so we said that with using the possessive nouns, right, or pronouns, we said some of the possessive pronouns, they come before a noun, right? And when it comes before the noun, then they are usually words such as my, your, his, her, its, our, and theirs, right? So it's like replacing the name of someone and then just saying it is either hers or his or theirs or ours, right? And then we also say that some of the possessive pronouns, it appears without a noun. Like, for example, it is mine, it is yours, it is his, it is hers, it belongs to, it's theirs, ours, or its, right? And that is possessive pronouns. All right, so now we are going to a plus classes.ca. So we're going to a plus classes.ca, right? All right, so we're now going to a plus classes.ca. We're going to learning materials, grades. We're going to choose grade 6. Then we're going to scroll down up until we get to that green book that has language arts. And then we go to not the first workbook, we go to the second workbook that says practice grammar in this language arts book. So now, once you have gone into the language arts, into the grammar practice book, then you're going to scroll down up until you get to page 18. And we're going to do an activity on possessive pronouns. It is on page 18, 8. And it's also possessive pronouns. All right. So now we are by possessive pronouns on A plus classes, aplusclasses.ca, and we went to language arts, grade 6, and then we went to grammar practice workbook, the second workbook, right? And it says that a possessive pronoun, it names a person or thing that has something, right? And a possessive pronoun, it does not contain an apostrophe. Remember when we talk about possessive nouns and then we need to add an apostrophe to show either that it belongs to someone or someone has ownership of it, right? So sometimes we say that if you don't add the apostrophe but you just add an S, then it's basically just you making it into or turning that word into a plural, but it's not a possessive noun, right? All right. Some possessive pronouns appear before a noun and replace the name of the person or thing that has something. So it basically replaces the name that of the person that has something. The example, right? Julian's group is finished. So now we don't have to repeat Julian's name again. We can just say his group is finished, right? So his is our pronoun, and it is now the pronoun of Julian. It replaces the name Julian. So we don't have to say Julian, Julian all the time. We can just say his group is finished. Then we have other possessive pronouns that stand alone in a sentence. For example, like mine and yours. Mine is the red one, and the one on the table is yours. It does not say it belongs to me, so now it is mine. No, right? It's only a sentence that stands on its own. Don't confuse the possessive pronoun it's with its contractions it is. Because sometimes you can get confused with it's, right? And it is. So it's, which is its without the apostrophe, it, right? Its colors had faded, and that shows possessive pronoun. It refers to something that's whose or what something whose color has faded, and that is a possessive pronoun. And then we have it's beginning to fade, which means that it's like saying it is beginning to fade. So something is beginning to fade. So that is a contraction, and that is not a possessive pronoun. All right, so now we're going to look at the activity that we see in front of us, right? And then we're going to identify possessive pronouns. They say we need to underline the possessive pronoun within the sentence below and write them in the spaces provided. Michael dropped his ice cream on the ground. Michael dropped his ice cream on the ground. We need to identify the possessive pronoun within that sentence. Michael dropped his ice cream on the ground. So, what is the possessive pronoun within that sentence? Michael dropped his ice cream on the ground. What is the possessive pronoun within that sentence? All right, so if we identify the possessive pronoun, then we can say it is his, right? Remember we said it was like his, hers, theirs, mine, ours, right? Several people claimed the prize was theirs. What is the possessive pronoun within this sentence? Several people claimed the prize was theirs. We need to identify the possessive pronoun within that sentence. Several people claimed the prize was theirs. All right, so we can then say theirs is the possessive pronoun, right? It's not mine, it's not yours, it's theirs. Susan and Hussein closed their eyes when Kelly brought out the cake. All right, so Susan and Hussein closed their eyes when Kelly brought out the cake. So if we look at that sentence, what is the possessive pronoun within that sentence? Susan and Hussein closed their eyes when Kelly brought out the cake. All right, so if we identify the word, right, the possessive pronoun, then we will say close their eyes. We couldn't decide which of the cars was ours. Ours. Can we identify the possessive pronoun within that sentence? We couldn't decide which of the cars was ours. And if we choose the one of the possessive pronouns, we're going to say ours. So our track team took first place. Our track team took first place. We need to identify the possessive pronoun. Our track team took first place. All right, so if we identify the pronoun, we will say our. All right, let's go to number 10. It says the dog lost its collar. The dog lost its collar, which means that it is its. Right? So these are the possessive pronouns, right? And we see that the possessive pronouns, it shows basically or it names a person or thing that has something. So it names a person or thing that has something. And we say the possessive pronoun, it does not contain an apostrophe. And some of the possessive pronouns appear before the noun and it replaces the name of the person or thing that has something. Right? So that is possessive pronouns. So, grade 6, that is now the end of our lesson on possessive pronouns, right? And we said possessive pronouns, it shows that someone is owning something, right? And we made a few examples as well as we identified some possessive pronouns within an activity. So, grade 6, thank you very much for joining the class. Thank you very much for being interactive. You should have an amazing evening further. Goodbye.